And notice what happens as I control the dashcam with the app. We can turn it so we can control and see other angles. So now this essentially single channel dashcam can potentially allow us to record left, to record right, to record the front, and to record the cabin, really giving us a lot of flexibility of what we can do with it.
And as always, I'd like to remind you that I place a link in the description down below to this dashcam in case you'd like to get one for yourself. And in the box we get the dashcam, which is available both in red and in black, USB-C cable for power, power adapter and installation tool. And the power adapter does feature 2 USB ports on the back so we can power the dashcam and another device of our choice. And to install this guy, there is double-sided tape on the top, so it's gonna be just a matter of peeling this back and sticking the dashcam to the windshield. But also want to show you that the mount does support tilting to adjust the view angle, and it actually tilts quite a bit, so it should provide plenty of adjustment. And what's pretty neat is that the mount is of the removable type in case we needed to dismount the dashcam. And power comes in via this USB-C port. And on the opposite side, we got power button and up and down arrows to navigate the menu. First off, we can turn off the screen with the power button while the dashcam continues to record. You can also see that we are recording as indicated by that red blinking dot. Wi-Fi is on, as well as the GPS signal, and parking mode has been enabled. And the up and down buttons allow us to enter into the settings menu, and this is a quick access menu. Most of these settings are gonna be controlled via the app in greater detail or greater control. And if I keep going down, we can turn off or on the watermark, and we can also turn off or on the motion detection, as well as collision detection, and enable time-lapse recording. Now, it is important to remember that these options are pertaining to parking mode, which does require the optional hardwire kit. We also get voice commands. Shoot left. And as you can see, the dashcam is now recording a video from the left side, and we can choose to do the same thing for video from the right side. Once the video is done recording, the dashcam returns to its default position, which is facing front, and resumes recording. Take photo. Shoot emergency video. And one of my favorite ones, take a selfie. And this one is really interesting. Shoot blog, because as you can see, the dashcam rotates all the way to this way, gets some kind of panoramic view by panning around, and then
ready to say hi to the camera.
It finishes with the camera facing you. Shoot inside. Now this option is going to be handy if you're trying to capture the inside of your vehicle. Stop audio. Record audio. And the app is called 70mai, and it is available for Apple and Android devices. And as you can see, we are shown a live view from the dashcam, and we can enlarge that view if we wanted to see that a little bit better. And we also have this little camera icon that allows us to take a picture. Moving back to the main screen, we also have these 3 icons in the bottom. The first one turns off the audio recording, and the second one does the same thing as the other one I showed you earlier, takes a picture. But what's probably my favorite one and the most interesting one is the third one, because this gives us control over the dashcam's turning ability. And I'm gonna enlarge this so we can see that a little bit better. And let's move the camera, and I'm gonna turn it as far as I can in one direction. That way we can see the range of it. And there I am, which is pretty cool. Also notice that when you get to the end of that turning ability, it tells you it no longer can turn any further. But notice how far it actually turned. Pretty cool that it got that far. Now let's see how far it can go in the other direction. And again, this is something that would come in handy if you're trying to adjust the camera without having to dismount it. If you can just control the view angle from the app and decide where you want to have it pointed, you have a lot of control over that angle. Moving over to album, here's where you can see the videos that the dashcam has recorded and stored on this memory, and they have been sorted out into all videos, emergency videos that may potentially involve a car crash, videos from the parking monitoring or parking surveillance, time-lapse videos, and other videos or photos that you may have created. But now let's play back a video. Let's go into all videos, and I'm gonna select the first one right here.
because this gives us control over the
And I'm gonna pause that. As you can see, we are also given the option to download a copy of that video to our phone for safekeeping or delete it. And you can also select multiple videos to either download or delete them. Moving over to the settings menu, here we can fully customize the dash cam. Now, as far as resolution, you only have one option, which is 1920 by 1080, which is full high definition. However, you are given the choice of having it at 30 frames per second or 60 frames a second, which is going to provide very fluid video and potentially allows you to capture license plates. However, notice that HDR is going to be disabled if you try to use high frame rate. So if you prefer HDR over high frame rate, you want to leave that at 30 frames per second, and now you can turn that on. And one thing that I really like about the app is that it actually tells you what the option does. For example, if you wanted to know what HDR does, it tells you right here how it can improve image quality. That way you can decide between running this with HDR enabled or running this at high frame rate. You can also turn on or off speed and coordinates on the watermark of the video that's being recorded, as well as the 70mai logo, and also the position of the camera when it first turns on, because remember, the dashcam can turn. You can also select where you want the camera to be pointed at during parking monitoring, which is a great idea because if you know where people are going to be coming from in terms of the direction when the car is parked, you can set the camera facing that direction. That way it can monitor that area as far as parking monitoring goes. And there's further customization for parking monitoring, which 70mai calls Sentinel mode, and one of them is collision detection. We can turn this on, and we can also select for a sensitivity of low, medium, or high in case we wanted to customize that. And we also get motion detection for parking monitoring, and again, the ability to customize how sensitive that motion detection is. The dashcam also has a lighting effect, basically a light that lets people know that the car is being monitored, and you are able to control whether you want that light to be on or off. You also can turn on or off time-lapse photography. Now, combining time-lapse photography with things like collision detection or motion detection can potentially allow you to have a better record, if not a complete record, of what happened when your car was parked and you were away from it. Moving over to smart travel, here's where you can adjust the G sensor sensitivity, which allows the dashcam to attempt to detect when you potentially have been involved in a car crash. We also get ADAS, which is the advanced driver assistance setting, and this allows the dashcam to attempt to alert you of things like forward collision alert, if you're about to depart from your lane, if the traffic in front of you has moved and you have not noticed, pedestrian collision warning, and rider collision warning. You can also turn on or off the voice control, which I showed you earlier, and you can also change the default language of the dashcam. We also have a couple options as far as what is displayed on the screen. We can have it show an animation, and you can also have it show a clock, or you can have the screen off while the dashcam continues to record, or you can choose to have the screen on all the time. But now let's take a look at some driving video, including the audio test.
And this is an audio test of the 70mai OMNI dashcam, and I'm actually controlling the dashcam right now with the app. That way you can see that I can aim it in any direction that I want and how it looks when I'm controlling it and I am turning it. Now this again is going to be convenient. Let's say I'm having an interaction with somebody on this side, I can have the dashcam aim on this direction, and if I were to be having an interaction with somebody on the other side, I can turn the camera and now I can capture that angle as well. And this is an audio test of the 70mai OMNI dashcam, and I'm standing outside the driver's side door. And here's what the OMNI dashcam looks like at night as far as the cabin. Now I normally only do this test with dashcams that have a cabin camera, but since you can turn this camera, technically it has a cabin camera. And I'm gonna point it towards this direction just so that I can show you what it will look like if you were trying to capture an interaction with somebody on that side. And I'm gonna turn it towards the passenger side, that way you can see what that side looks like as well. But there's a couple quirks with this dash cam, and I really think the potential for it has not been fully tapped yet. For example, when you ask for it to either shoot left or shoot right, it turns and it creates a clip, about a 10-second clip. But I think it would be better if you were able to tell the dashcam to turn left and stay there, or turn right and stay there. Because if you, for example, have an interaction with somebody that's coming from this direction, you want the camera to turn and stay facing that direction. You don't want it to turn and stay there only for 10 seconds and then return to the front. And also, same thing with the blog. When you ask for a blog, it's only a 15-second clip. How much can you include in there? So I think the voice controls could really be improved, giving us full control of this dashcam hands-free, allowing us to tell the dashcam where we want that video to be recorded, as far as where we want the camera to be aimed at. That being said, its parking mode features are some of the best features I've seen on a dashcam yet, again because of its ability to turn. That way it can turn as it senses that motion and attempt to follow that motion, and also the fact that we can combine motion detection with the G sensor and time-lapse can give us really good coverage as far as parking monitoring. Now, as far as the color of the dashcam, I like mine being white and red. They do have it, like I said, in the other color, but I think in a way having it a bright color like that and that glowing ring around it alerts people to, hey, there is a camera on the vehicle. And sometimes the best prevention or the best deterrence against something happening is to let people know that they are being watched. So I think the color, the bright color, actually works for its advantage. So remember, I put a link in the description down below to this dashcam in case you want to get one for yourself. And if you guys have any other questions or comments regarding it, also put that in the comments down below. If you found any part of this video helpful, hit the thumbs up button to support the channel, and stay tuned as I have a lot more dashcam reviews coming up. Thank you guys for watching, and as always, I'll see you on the next one.